Welcome back. It's the Flow Friday Night Sports Show, and it's time to have a look at the Northern Areas Footy Association with Graham Spud McKay, who's joining me on the line right now. How are you, Spud? Good to speak with you again.
Yeah, very good, thanks, Dan. Nice to have a little bit of moisture. It can still rain, so that's a start there. But we need a lot more yet, of course. But at least it's a start, and you got to get a start, don't you?
Absolutely. Just before we do get into the footy, for anyone who's not familiar with the farming that you do, just give us a tiny little brief on the farming that you do and how much this little bit of rain's going to help you.
Oh yeah, well we sow wheat, barley. Normally we put vetch and oats in for sheep feed. Probably a bit late. We'll wait and see what the paddocks are like. If we get a good germination, the vetch will just be put on hold till next year. And yes, we just need a little bit more moisture. We've certainly put some wheat in on this 9 mil that we've had, but it's certainly not going to last very long. So hopefully we get a little bit more Friday afternoon, and then maybe Saturday morning too, I think they're talking. So a little bit more needed, but yeah, that's the way it is.
All right, well, short term and long term, we'll certainly be hoping for a little bit more rain all across our cropping regions of South Australia, but we will wait and see. I'm sure everyone playing footy tomorrow, I don't know, some people love playing in the rain, some people don't, so some people will probably be wanting a bit of rain tomorrow. Before we get to tomorrow, though, let's have a look at last week's games. It was not a great day for Jamestown Peterborough. They went down to Crystal Brook 17-8, 110 to 4-4, 28, so a big margin, but at least JP got a few goals on the board.
Yeah, a little bit disappointing. They scored 1-1 in the first quarter, but never scored in the second quarter. And you don't like to see teams going through and not being able to score in a quarter. And then they kicked a couple of goals in the third and one in the last. So, yeah, Crystal Brook, far too good. Leo Coates up forward was really good for them, for Crystal Brook. He kicked 8 goals, and that was a really good effort by him. Jackson Richmond was also good with 3, and then the rest were sort of spread around. So, yeah, just a solid win by Crystal Brook.
Solid win also by BMW over Broughton Mundura, 14-8, 92 to 11-14, 80. Probably the match of the round here, and Broughton Mundura, we probably didn't think they would get quite that close, and if they'd kicked a little bit straighter, well, they just might have gotten themselves on top, but it was BMW taking the chocolates.
Yeah, you touched on the good point there, Dan, in that like poor kicking can sort of keep you out of a game, and you need to be able to put scoreboard pressure on, and they finished up having more scoring shots but not being able to beat BMW. But BMW are going on pretty well without really being unbeatable, but they are sort of playing very well at this stage of the season.
And interesting, just more on the scoreline in that one, it was actually BMW who was struggling with their goal kicking early. They kicked 1 goal, 4 in the first quarter, 13 goals, 4 for the match after that, so they really switched on. But Broughton Mundura, they started out with 4 goals, 4, got a good 3-goal lead at quarter time, but then Wayward kicking at just 7 goals, 10 for the rest of the match after that point.
Yes, yeah, no, that's fair comment, but I think that was played at Wilmington, that match, so yep. It was pretty good conditions, and just one of those things. Yeah, sometimes we see that in the AFL where quite often sides don't bring the right kicking boot, and it just puts them under pressure then.
We saw a good win from Orroroo on the weekend as well. They beat Southern Flinders 15-10, 100 to 8-10, 58. So they would have been hoping for a BMW loss, so they might have been able to take top spot on the ladder, but they'll settle for second.
Yeah, no, they're travelling pretty well. I think Tom Moten, their coach, is probably looking for them to be perhaps a little bit more consistent throughout the game, and that will probably come. Isaac Moller, formerly from BSR, he kicked 9 goals, and he was really a strong focal point for them up at centre half forward there. A really good player, has played zone footy before, so they are going along fine. And Southern Flinders, 8 goal 10. That's probably not too bad for them against what we presume is one of the top 2 sides anyway. So to have 18 scoring shots in that match was a pretty solid effort by Southern Flinders.
We'll look to the round 7 action. There are some good games on this weekend. Let's start with Orroroo hosting Jamestown Peterborough. Jamestown Peterborough will be looking for a better result than last week. They're playing a very good opposition on their home ground, though, so they'll have their work cut out for them.
Oh, yeah, it'll be really difficult. I know Jamestown Peterborough got a couple of injuries, and, you know, it always happens if you're struggling. You don't lose the players that are in your bottom 2 or 3. They're usually up towards the top 2 or 3. So that's happened a little bit. But the team they put out will have a solid effort for them. But, of course, they'll have to be able to find somebody to match up on. Isaac Moller, Aidan Lee in the ruck will give them first use of it. And Henry Moore, who will probably ruck for Jamestown Peterborough, he'll have his time cut out trying to just nullify Aidan there in the centre. But Orroroo will have too much class all around the ground there, and I think they'll have a pretty solid win.
Probably the match of the round taking place at Crystal Brook tomorrow. The Brook are hosting BMW. BMW were victorious by 20 points last time they met, but Crystal Brook playing at home, that'd have to be a good chance to hand BMW their first loss of the year.
Yes, that's a very good comment, actually. They're solidly represented by Will Coombe and Joel Millard in the centre. Luke Capitola is still, starting to. He's good value in the centre there with his experience, and then Brad Eagle is sort of. He didn't play last week, so he'll be solid for them across centre half back or full back wherever he plays. And then Daniel Hill is a good income for him. So they'll put out a really good side, but you would think that BMW will just, they've got solid players. Cody Wolf has had a pretty good season for them. Jamie Robinson is really good in the centre. And then their back line is functioning very well too. So that they will have to sort of be right on in order to be able to stop Leo Coates and Daniel Hill, those sort of blokes up forward. So Nick McCullum, Eric Burton and Matt Vallis, who have been performing very well for them, will be have their time cut out tomorrow. But I reckon BMW might just get over the line.
Last match for the round is Broughton Mundura hosting Southern Flinders. Broughton Mundura have been in some pretty good form over the last couple of weeks and a good opportunity playing at home here to score another win. Yeah,
they've got Ben Geitenbeek. He's playing really good footy for them. Kane Bowley was in amongst their best players there last week. He's a really solid player. And then Charlie Dickinson, who won a Colts medal a couple of years ago, or might even been last year, I'm not too sure, but he's good for them too. And, of course, Southern Flinders, Matt Spenceley, we see him in the best players or up around the best player most weeks. So he'll be the main one for Southern Flinders, along with Shane Valentine. And then Zeke Kay in the back line is solid for them. So, look, I reckon Southern Flinders will give a good account of themselves, but Broughton Mundura should have a pretty comfortable win.
All right, thank you very much, Spud. Lots of good games on this weekend in the Northern Areas Footy Association. Enjoy all the action. Good luck to anyone playing in Northern Areas Footy tomorrow. We'll speak to you next week, Spud. Have a good weekend.
Yeah, thanks, Dan. You too. Have a good weekend.